Hello, hi, and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Sarah and this is Wicked Reading. So today we're going to start a new vlog. And in the spirit of taking part in Once Upon a Readathon, I decided to dabble back into a little bit of romance because everybody's talking about all these pirate romances, so I want to give some a go. So I decided to actually pick out two books that are Little Mermaid retellings, and then I could read both of them and kind of, compare them and see how I feel about Little Mermaid retellings, because I haven't actually read any like Disney story retellings, except I guess the Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman is technically a retelling or like inspired by the Jungle Book, so I have read that, but it's like so not similar that you wouldn't even know really until someone pointed it out, and then you kind of see the similarities, but totally different type of vibe there. The two books I picked out are actually both on KU. So the first book I'm going to read is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexander Christo. And then after that, I'm going to read A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley. I have read one other book by her before, Blood Orange, and I think I gave it a 3.5. Like, it was okay. For me, with like smut and spice, I'm so specific about the buildup and the tension and the ratio of smut and romance versus plots. I don't like the smut to like be way too much and there be no plot. I need some plot. I need something else to keep me interested, because to be totally honest, just smut is pretty boring to me and doesn't keep my attention, which is why I don't tend to read it very often, because yeah, it just like does not keep my attention, and I need more exciting like plot to do that with. So anyways, so we're gonna read both of those. I'm gonna read To Kill a Kingdom first. I feel way more drawn to it. The only reason I'm even doing A Ship of Bones and Teeth is because so many people in the readathon are talking about it. It was not even on my TBR, so I'm already straying from that, but it is what it is. So yeah, that is the reading plans for this vlog, and that's all I have right now. So yeah, that's it from me, and I'm gonna get started with the first book. I am officially 27% of the way through To Kill a Kingdom, and I am enjoying it so far. I think it's cute. I will say I'm enjoying the setup of the story a lot. It's very true to like a Little Mermaid retelling. If I didn't tell you it was one, you would be like, this feels familiar. So like you could totally tell that it's a Little Mermaid retelling. So we are flipping between the POV of our main girl. Her name is Lyra in this world, and then Prince Elian. And I will say the format of the book isn't my favorite, because at the beginning of the chapters it just says like chapter 1, 2, 3, whatever, and it doesn't say, you know, what character we're about to read from. And while it's kind of fine right now because the context of the two characters is very different, you can figure it out pretty quick after a little bit of context clue whose like chapter situation we're in. I'm hoping it doesn't get confusing when they inevitably meet and they're in the same situation. So I will say I do kind of wish that the chapters just said whose POV it was about to be in, because yeah, the writing style isn't distinct between the two, and the writing is fine. It doesn't stand out as like bad or great, so it's fine. And yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I think it's cute and sweet. I do like Prince Elian as a character a lot. I like a lot of his character traits and his attitudes and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of all I got right now. So I'm going to keep reading. Okay, so I am officially 67% of the way through To Kill a Kingdom. And since my last update, I feel like the writing has stepped up a little bit. We're starting to understand Lyra better and her thoughts and motives and characterization and her as an individual character a lot more. There have been a few chapters where it took me a second to realize who I was in the mind of, but nonetheless, I'm enjoying it. I like their banter, and it's kind of like enemies, but not really, because it's very one-sided, because Lyra knows who Elian is, but Elian doesn't really know who Lyra is. So it's like a one-sided enemy situation, but they do still like tease each other a lot. That's the kind of banter I do like. They're both very kind of sarcastic and just poking at each other all the time, and I like that. And overall, I do like Elian as a love interest. I'm like actually less keen on Lyra. I like her, but I like Elian more. A lot of the story, I get that the point is that they are very similar in a lot of ways, but I almost feel like they're too similar. Like I said, the writing style doesn't change between each character, but then also they're similar in a lot of other ways. So I don't know. I guess I wish that they were slightly different. Like they had those similar things going on that like connects them, but they were still a little bit more unique in other ways. But I don't know. That might not be like a critique. It's just how I'm feeling right now. But like I said, I am enjoying it, and I like their banter. I like the banter with like everybody in the story, even with like the crewmates and stuff. I think everyone's kind of like funny, and they just tease each other, and I like that. I think that's fun. I will say the dialogue, I guess with like stuff with pirates and such, I kind of usually expect kind of historical-ish with pirate lingo and stuff, which is not the case in this book, which isn't necessarily a critique. It's just like something I noticed. So if you're apprehensive about books with pirates because you don't like the historical feel or the dialogue or the jargon, it's really not in this book at all. So that might be a good thing for you, might not be, I don't know. It's just something I noticed. I haven't read that many, if any, pirate books, so I just kind of expected more Pirates of the Caribbean type of talk, but that's not in this book. I don't know how I feel about it. It's just something to note. But anyways, I actually feel like I can finish this tonight, so I'm gonna get back to reading, and hi, what's going on? What's going on, baby? You wanna come on camera? Come here. No? Okay. Anyways, so I do feel like I can finish this tonight. So I'm gonna get back to reading, and I will update you guys with my final thoughts. Okay, so I have officially finished the first book of this vlog, To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christou. So final thoughts. Yeah, I was enjoying it, and I had my like little criticisms, nothing major, and I liked their banter. But ultimately, probably like the last 100 pages or so just kind of lost me. There's like a kind of final fight scene scenario that I just didn't really, I guess, care about, or I don't know. It just like didn't do it for me. I don't know. I can't really pinpoint exactly what it was, but I just didn't connect to it at the end, and I think overall it felt like YA. Is this a YA book? Like, I don't think it's meant to be YA, but it felt YA to me. There's no spice, which isn't necessarily a criticism. Spice I'm very particular about to begin with. I'd rather have no spice than like too much spice. Yeah, it just ended up feeling YA in the end. Maybe I like darker pirates. Maybe that was my issue. I don't know. I think I'm gonna give To Kill a Kingdom, I'm kind of between 3 and 3.5 stars. I don't know. One of those. I'll figure it out at the end. It's probably going to be a 3 or a 3.5. I'm going to decide actually after I probably finish the next book, and I'm just going to like compare the two and see. Overall, To Kill a Kingdom was good and enjoyable enough. Okay, so I am going to start A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Hall, I think is how you say it. And I'm expecting this to definitely be spicy because I've read a Karina Hall before. I read, what was it, Blood Orange, and I gave it 3.5 stars. My issue was the plot to spice ratio and balance. So that was my issue with my one previous book I've read of hers. So I'm hoping that's not an issue with this one, but I am expecting spice, and I think it's going to take on a lot more of a dark approach. I guess when I knew that To Kill a Kingdom was a dark fantasy retelling, I guess I thought it would be darker. It was pretty much just, instead of a mermaid, it's a siren that does kill people. And yeah, I mean, that's dark. I don't know, maybe I'm just twisted and I read too much horror, so it's like, that's very minimal dark retelling to me in my mind. So I kind of expect this one to be much darker, much spicier, and so we'll see. I get the feeling that it's gonna feel a bit more like true pirates and not a prince playing as a pirate like it was for To Kill a Kingdom. So we shall see. I'm excited, and yeah, that's my plans for the rest of the day. I don't have anything going on, so I'm literally just gonna now start this book. So I will update you guys on it when I have some thoughts. Okay, so reading update. I am officially 29% into A Ship of Bones and Teeth, page 140, chapter 13. So my thoughts so far, I am enjoying it. I didn't realize going into it that while it is a Little Mermaid retelling, pretty much the prologue is a retelling synopsis of the Little Mermaid story, and she becomes human, goes on land, and marries Prince Eric. But then chapter number 1 is actually 10 years later, so now it's been a decade. She's been married to Prince Eric, and what her situation is now. So turns out Prince Eric is an abusive asshole, so there's that. So that's kind of where the dark aspect starts to come in. I like that it starts 10 years later because I was thinking about it, and like Ariel, or in this book her name's Marin, she's like a 16-year-old teenager, so the fact that we make this retelling happen 10 years after the fact, now we're dealing with a 26-year-old woman, so it feels, you know, better to have these situations happening to a 26-year-old. So we're dealing with a 26-year-old woman instead of a teenager now, so I just like that better, and I feel like we can do a lot more adult-wise with that. I didn't even really think about that when I was reading To Kill a Kingdom, and it turns out that that is a YA, so that makes total sense. But anyways, so Marin and Prince Eric are on this ship, and while they are on it, it gets overtaken by a crew of pirates, and that's kind of really where the bulk of our story starts. So we end up flipping back and forth between Marin, or, you know, Ariel, Marin in the story, and the captain of the pirate ship. His name is Ramsey Bones Batista. His nickname is Bones. But yeah, so we flip back and forth between their POVs, so that's cool. It's very much kind of Little Mermaid meets Pirates of the Caribbean, which I really like. There's been a few like kind of nods to Pirates of the Caribbean and references to it. So I've enjoyed that. I think that that's fun, and I think I'm gonna like that aspect to it better. The pirate is very much more so a pirate versus in like To Kill a Kingdom, it was Prince Eric. It felt like a prince playing a pirate, and in this one it feels much more like a true pirate. And I like the dynamic so far between Marin and Ramsey. So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so this is like a weird angle, and the lighting is kind of weird too because it is extremely overcast outside, so I had to use like some artificial lighting, and I don't really like the way it looks, but it is what it is. And then I have to do my nails really bad, so I'm gonna do my nails. So I'm like, I have it all set up on my table. I actually just got some new nails in, and I'm super excited. So this order is from another Etsy shop that's pretty much exclusively where I get my press-on nails from, is Etsy. But this was a new shop that I haven't gotten from yet called Sammy Pressed. So I got a set of pink ombre ones. These are medium length in coffin. And then I got a short coffin in just black. So some simple sets, but they're cute. I'm gonna do the pink set. Anyways, so I'm gonna put those on while I give you guys a reading update. Now, unfortunately, the reading update's not a positive one. So I got approximately, I forget because I already deleted it off my Kindle, but I think I got up to like 54% or so in A Ship of Bones and Teeth, and I could not do it anymore. I DNF'd it officially. This was my first DNF all year. It's very hard for me to DNF, but I have not felt so strongly against reading a book as I have with this one. So I will reiterate my positives of this book. Positive, I do again like that the story was taking place 10 years after kind of the original story of Ariel. And that is where my positive thoughts end. So anything I said positively before, we're gonna take that back. I rescind everything before that. This book was just, I feel bad because I know one of my lovely friends on here, Vita, really liked it. So I'm so sorry, Vita. And I'm so glad you liked it, truly. I wish I loved every book, but we all have different taste, and I'm so happy you loved it, but it was just not for me at all. I don't want to be mean, but I literally cannot think of anything good about this book. The plot was messy. So messy with so many holes and so confusing, and any type of small conflicts that would arise would be very quickly and easily resolved. So then a new little conflict would arise, and then it would be quickly and easily resolved. So anytime any type of conflict came up, it just like at a certain point you're like, who cares, because it's gonna get solved. Like the stakes were not high because everything was like very simply resolved, all these little conflicts along the way. And then the characters were just like not good. The main character, Marin, pretty much has like no personality other than being like angry, which I just like don't click with if that's like your only personality trait. So there's that. I don't think she's interesting, which then leads me to Captain Bones. And I just have no idea why he liked her so much. It didn't make any sense. Every feeling from hate to desire made no sense. I'm like, why do they feel anything? I was not convinced about anybody's feelings about anything, positive or negative. It just like Like, I don't believe you. And not to mention, Captain Bones is like supposed to be this really like badass, brutal pirate. And he's just like not. They say a lot in the book about how brutal he is, but we never once actually see it or experience it. It's all like indirect stuff. Okay, I try to get you guys down a little bit just so you can kind of see that I'm doing my nails. But anyways, so everything we heard was like very indirect. A lot of, so like anything with that situation was all off page, supposedly. So like I didn't believe that. I'm like, no, no. Like he doesn't seem like a badass, brutal pirate at all. It is emphasized so many times over that this crew is like clean and hygienic. And I don't know why, but by like the third or fourth time that was reiterated, I was like, who cares? I would rather my pirates be dirty. Maybe that's like just me, and I won't be surprised if it's just me, but like you don't need to reiterate so many times over that he's a clean pirate with like morals. He's not a pirate anymore then. Like, hello. So like that was lame. I feel like he was just lame, honestly. And then the smut, the spice, did absolutely nothing for me. And that is like totally personal. So like if the smut did something for you, very good. Like good for you. Obviously everybody, you know, is totally different when it comes to smut and spice, but they were saying things like, oh, it was so, I was gagging and not in a good way. They were saying things like releasing ropes of seed. No. No, that does not work for me. And I feel like the relationship, like the sexual parts, were a little bit kind of like hate effing, and I'm not into that. I don't know if that was kind of supposed to be the point. But it felt like it to me, and I don't like that. That doesn't work for me. So the smut and spice just like was not for me at all. Wasn't convinced by any of the characters' feelings. I don't even know why he desired her as much as he did. And then the dialogue was so bad. The dialogue was so inconsistent and didn't make any sense. So again, back to Captain Bones. It is said in the book that he is like Scottish and from Scotland. So, okay, but then like all of the dialogue was just bad. I don't even know how to describe it. It didn't feel like pirate dialogue for one. There'd be super random pirate phrases thrown in just like haphazardly in places that it didn't make sense. At certain parts he'd like say ye, but then he's saying like milady, like he's in the middle of London. And then he never really said anything Scottish like. So the dialogue didn't make sense and it wasn't good. Actually, at one point I like highlighted it because I was like, what? Marin goes, shut your mouth or I'll shut it for you. And like that just like, I'm like, are you 12? Like what the hell kind of like dialogue sentence is that? So the dialogue was just weird. They were saying weird things and I don't like it. The motivations also kept changing. So that was like annoying, and it kind of coincided with all these like conflicts, these small conflicts that would get resolved. So the conflicts kept shifting, and then so the motives kept changing. So it made the plot just overall really messy. Oh, here's another smutty, spicy line that was written and I hate. Quote, pushing my sex against his mouth, end quote. I don't like that. I think I'm just like not into this crude of spice and smut. I don't mind spice and smut, but I think I like it a little bit more, you know, romantic kind of, but like I don't mind dark romance when it gets like Blood Orange by Karina Halley. I actually enjoyed a lot of the smut in that book. I think that one I had a problem with the balance of the smut and plot. Like there was a little bit too much smut in relationship to the amount of plot that there was, because she just like totally neglected the plot line that was so well set up in that book, but it was just completely neglected. So that was like a totally different issue I had with it, but the smut itself I actually did like in that book. So like I don't necessarily not like crude stuff, but like, I don't know, the stuff in this one I didn't like. And then I think my final like straw that broke the camel's back, that I was like, I'm done, was she literally repeated and recycled content from Blood Orange. So I read something that is copied from Blood Orange that she used in Blood Orange, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. The book feels lazy. The writing's not good. These are all in my opinion, of course. The writing was not good. The dialogue wasn't good. The characters weren't good. The motives, conflicts, plot, messy, didn't make any sense, and was just like jumbled. And I do not care even a little bit where this story goes, and it will not be missed by me at all, even a little bit. This was, again, the first book I've DNF'd all year. It takes a lot for me to DNF a book, and I could usually find some redeeming qualities about books. The only other book I came close to DNFing was Daisy Hates. The only reason I didn't is because I knew I was still going to read the third installment because it had to do with Magnolia Parks again. So that's the only reason I didn't DNF that, and that was the only other book that I came close to doing so with. So yeah, unfortunately, this book did not work even a little bit for me, like at all. And even, what was the other one? To Kill a Kingdom. Even To Kill a Kingdom was just like okay. Kind of forgettable, lost me a little bit at the end. I did like the guy in that book, but wasn't the biggest fan of the girl. But yeah, this vlog didn't go very well or according to plan, and I really debated on pushing through the book, so I at least had read 2 books and 2 Little Mermaid retellings that I could share with you guys, but I just really couldn't do it at all. I've never been more turned off and pissed off at a book. It was just like not good. And it's not my normal genre, but I have liked dark fantasy, smutty, spicy dark fantasy before. So to be fair, it's not like my typical like go-to genre, but I mean, I'm not totally naive or ignorant to this genre either, but it does have a 4.12 rating on Goodreads with 1,997 ratings. It is a newer release, so I feel like people who are already fans of Karina Halley are probably the majority of the people that have already read it. So they're going in already liking Karina Halley, and you know, there's a bias there in that way. If I'm going into a book by an author that I already know and love, I'm gonna, even with the book I don't necessarily like the most by them, it's probably gonna get like a slightly higher rating just because of the author, you know what I mean? So I'm looking at the reviews, and they're highly positive, a lot of them. And again, I think a lot of these are kind of like ARC people and people who are already fans of Karina Halley. This one says, I just felt I was caught into an unpolished Pirates of the Caribbean scenario, and I didn't even smile once. I couldn't relate to the main characters, and several times their reactions irked me. I couldn't find any chemistry between them, as they mostly left me unfeeling. Furthermore, they kept acting out of character, saying one thing but not acting on it, particularly when it comes to emotions. Yeah, I could see that. She finished it, so. Okay, here's one. It's a 2 rating. It says, okay, I truly feel bad giving this book such a low rating, but I honestly think I only enjoyed about 4 chapters throughout this whole book. That being said, I love the idea of this book and was very, very excited going into it, but throughout reading it, there was just something in the story / writing / characters that I couldn't get my brain to have an attachment with. There is a lot going on in this, and maybe it's a little bit too much, just a teensy bit. I enjoy a dark villain vibe getting the heroine, but this didn't click for me. Yeah. All of the positive reviews don't really say like much, just like I loved it, like this was great. It's not like they don't really go in depth. So, but yeah, this is a 5-star review. When I say I got lost in the story, I mean I never wanted to get out. I wanted to be part of the ship and the family, perhaps in another lifetime. The HEA, I don't know what that is. The HEA was beautiful and I cried. You know what, to each their own. And I hope that you liked this book if you read it. It's not it for me. And that's kind of it on that. So unfortunately, this is where the vlog's going to end on not such a positive note. So at least it's gonna be a quick video. Oh, let me show you guys my nails. So they're cute, very cute, just like a little ombre moment. Love them, love having my long nails back on. I think they look really good. Okay, anyways, so yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. Only up from here, right? You can only go up from a DNF, hopefully. I'm trying to not get slumpy because honestly, that book makes me want to get slumpy, but I'm fighting it. So I'm probably gonna jump to horror. I think I'm gonna read Curse of the Reaper next. I have to read it for the Dark Hearts Book Club by Amy Noel Reads, and I'm really excited to get into that. So I think I'm gonna totally switch gears, get back to my basics. I haven't done many slashers, if any, so yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna read next. And hopefully it goes better than this. And I apologize that I was not able to push through a Ship of Bones and Teeth. But thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to this point, leave me a pirate flag emoji in the comments down below so that I know. As always, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you spending some of your time with me while I read and talk about books. If you haven't yet, please give the video a like, subscribe if you're interested in future content, do the bell notification, all the fun YouTube things that help your girl out. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!